Passionate.
Community loyalty.
Fun.
Legacy.
Loving.
They get it.
Wow!
Stuart and Joanne are wonderful people. They have given of their talent, their expertise, their time, and their dollars to both the Jewish community and the general community at large, and certainly they deserve this honor.
Joanne went to Winter Park High School, I went to Edgewater, but we didn't know each other. When I was a sophomore at the University of Florida, I got involved in student government. She came in as a freshman, and she got involved in student government, and we met in student government at the University of Florida.
I fell in love at first sight, basically.
Just started talking and found out that we had a lot of the same values.
The thing that to me was that sums Stuart up in a nutshell is we were poor college students. We had gone out to dinner and then we were going to go shopping, and it was in November after Thanksgiving. We walked out of the store and the Salvation Army was ringing the kettlebells. And Stuart being Jewish and Salvation Army, it just didn't connect to me. He walked over and put money in their kettle. And I was so impressed by his generosity and the fact that we were both poor students, you know, but he felt a need, and he said they should have money, they should have tzedakah, they should have whatever, giving, you know. And that's what really cinched it for me, because I had never met anybody who was that willing to give from his heart and from his pocketbook, which was amazing to me, because you just don't find that usually among college kids or high school kids when you're that age, you know.
I guess my senior year, I asked her to marry me. And she was foolish enough to say yes, and that's going to be 47 years next month. I did that pretty well, without coaching. The JCC was a very young organization. I think it was around 1979 when we first did anything with it, because our oldest child, MJ, was born in 1978. And so it was the preschool toddler program. That was our first enlightenment to what was going on this little white house on a piece of property in Maitland.
I think all of his nursery school was in that building. His very first teacher, he called Naomi, and he always referred to her as Miss Omi. And that is actually Robbie Etzkin's mother. So the circle goes around because now Robbie has come back to our JCC.
The parents' organization was quite strong, and the fundraising was doing Broadway shows. That brings back a lot of old memories, and I initially was in the pit orchestra, and then they took me from the pit to the stage.
I remember my dad performing in musicals with the JCC. He did Little Abner, he did Guys and Dolls, and I believe he played trumpet with South Pacific.
And that then morphed into something called Silhouettes.
And both my dad and I were in Silhouettes. I'm sure the old VHSs are somewhere out there, but he used to host it, and I was in a dancing number.
I was a thespian long before Stuart was, but I can't sing. I know all the words, but nobody ever asked me to open my mouth to tell them. So it's, you know, one of those people. At that point, when he was involved with doing the plays, I was involved with adding another child. I was always the audience.
Marvin Friedman had an amazing ability to make you think it was your idea to do anything that he wanted you to do. And I just came on the board initially, served several years there, and then was treasurer, I think, for 2 years, and then was president for, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 years. It feels like it was Camelot. I mean, compared to some of the struggles that community centers have, we had balanced budget, and the school was booming, and there was a waiting list. That's just like today. It was a pleasure to serve. It was fun.
Not everybody understands how things work. Not just mechanical work, but how the world works and life works, and especially how nonprofits work. They just got it, and they get it, and they're a pleasure to be with.
First of all, I'm still wondering why I was asked to be honored like this. Keith had said that It's because we continued to be involved long after our children and grandchildren even were involved. What's so important, Jewish organizations to perpetuate, that's the way it should be. You know, so many people will graduate from a school and then become alumni and give every year. They're not using the organization anymore, but yet they're still giving. Well, the JCC should be like that too. A lot of Jewish organizations need that. So our family, again, we lived at the JCC, and so when the last ones, you know, went to college, and certainly they weren't in the preschool anymore, it never even crossed my mind to say, okay, cross that off, don't need to worry about that anymore. They were part of our family. The JCC is not a YMCA. When you join the YMCA, then you leave it, you typically aren't going to make any more gifts to it. The JCC needs you to think about not just your children, but other people's children and their grandchildren. And that's why we've remained so committed. It's important. Thank goodness it's the way I was raised.
I have known Stuart since I was probably 11, 12 years of age. The JCC could not have picked a better couple to honor, and I want to thank him personally for all the support that he's given the Jewish Community Center. Not only the Jewish Community Center, but the Jewish community as a whole. And I think not find anyone who's been more dedicated and loyal to the Central Florida Jewish community, as well as the center. And we all need to be indebted.
Whether they're intentionally doing it or not, they're leaving a legacy through family. Everything to them is family, family-oriented, bringing together the family. And I think they view their family is more than whether it's blood family or not. The community is their family.
He's a good guy. They're both good people. They're good family people. They're good about the Jewish community. They've done a lot of good things.
My parents' legacy has always been to give back. No matter what the organization, they believe it's important to do more than just themselves. They always have. So I hope that their legacy continues with just being involved and looking at the bigger need.
I think I would like our legacy for our children to continue the connection to Judaism that we felt and the connection to the Jewish community that hopefully we have instilled in them as they grew up.
But our legacy is our children. Our legacy, hopefully, is that we helped, in some small way, inspire others to do what they think is right, to create a legacy for themselves and their families, and for Jewish perpetuity in Central Florida.